Hey, everybody. Thank you for coming. Good to see you all. Today, we're going to be chatting about mugwort and doing a deep dive into a monograph for mugwort. And I have a show and tell to share also. So we'll be going through that. Before I get started and while we're waiting for others to join, let me go ahead and get my disclaimer out of the way and remind you that this live is for educational purposes only, and I'm not a medical professional, and nothing shared here is meant to diagnose, treat, or replace medical advice from a qualified healthcare provider. Herbalism is supportive, but everyone's body and health history are different. So make sure you speak with your doctor or another licensed professional before trying any new herbs, especially if you're pregnant, nursing, taking medications, or managing a medical condition. And real quick, I just want to say hi to some folks that are here. Anne, Corey, and Robin. Good to see you all. Hey, Jennifer. Thank you all for coming. We had a request for doing a deep dive into mugwort, and I'm harvesting mugwort, so I thought this would be fun. And, you know, I do want to put out there, I know I've done a live on how to do your own monograph and how to make that, how to get the template going. Hey, Aidnir, thank you for coming. And I just want to kind of throw it out there. Every time I'm working on a monograph for an herb that I feel like I know, like the big thing of it, right? I feel like I know for the most part about it. I always end up learning new information. So really, like making sure or thinking about doing your own monograph, even though you have a book that tells you everything, like maybe it doesn't tell you everything. So creating your own and compiling information that you research independently, you really do learn from that. And I think it's going to make you remember things better. Hey, Tamara, thanks for coming. Okay. Let me go ahead and see if I have any other high-level things I need to review before I start going through the monograph. It's actually a lot of information. A lot more information than I thought I'd be sharing about mugwort. Are you loaded with it, Jennifer? Oh my goodness. So I have some news for you. So just a reminder to anybody who's new here, I do ideally weekly. Anybody who's following me along with these Herbal Study Hall lives knows I skip a Tuesday every now and then. But my goal is to try to be on here every Tuesday or every other Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Time. And what we do is we talk about herbs. Sometimes we also are sharing an herbal concept. Herbal recipes are shared here, either teas, topical use, or what have you. And also, if you're a member to the channel, then all you got to do is email me and I will send you the notes from that evening's live. And I put this out there last week and then nobody emailed me. So make sure you guys email me. Sometimes I do a giveaway on here also. But that's the overview. It's meant to be welcoming to anybody who is new to herbalism or even experienced. I feel like we touch a little bit of everything. I am a current herbal student and I'm studying TCM. I've been studying herbs for a very, very long time. You know, I feel like once you just start studying herbs, it becomes a lifelong thing. So for me, I'm at like 20 years. So with that being said, though, I'm in this class and I've got to be done. I have to be done by March. That's my date. I've got to be done by March. And then I enter into like a fellowship kind of program. So that's what I'm working on. Hey, Nancy, good to see you. Thanks for coming. And I love it because everybody that's here in this chat, I know all of you, and I know that you're all using herbs in some capacity. So I think that's great. And I will tell you that what has really helped me the most in this formal coursework that I'm taking and in preparation, because my goal is to ultimately apply to the American Herbalist Guild and get my registered herbalist designation. And knowing all of the herbs is so helpful. Like it's just I've been studying them for so many years that knowing that part of the coursework is super helpful. Now, last time we were live, I had two people that I mailed books out to. Anne, you're one of them. And then also Marianne Smith, if you come back here for the replay. I was delayed in getting them mailed out, but I did get them mailed out. Was it Monday of no, was it Friday? Y'all are supposed to get them Saturday. That's all I know. When I mail books, I do mail them at the book rate because it's like a $10 difference to mail a book that, so it is a little bit slow shipping. So thank you for your patience on that. And sorry for the delay. I was running behind. I won't lie. So share with me in the chat, everybody. Have you guys been working on any herby stuff? Any herbal things going on in your world? I can share. Thank you, Ian, for showing me grace. I can share. I finally started working on my pain oil. I had a request for some of that, and I got twofold. There's two different ways that I've worked on this pain oil. I've done it on I infuse the oils individually because I use several different infused oils to make it. And then I add in some essential oils. And I use all of the, infused oils separately and then add them together. But I also sometimes I have my recipe presented two ways, and it's by weight. So I can also weigh the herbs and put them all in a jar together and infuse the oil all together at one time. And do like to have the individually infused oils because I use them for other things. But I do want to infuse them all together because I was actually listening to a webinar from an herbalist, and they were saying that they thought that when you infuse the herbs all together, that it actually encourages more synergy. I think it was David Winston that I was listening to. And he was saying that it encourages synergy in a way that it does not, that you might not see present when you add them together. Like there'll still be some synergy, and there's always synergy in some plants. I think I did a live on this where we talked about dewy yals. We talked about coupling herbs. Ayurveda likes to combine herbs in trios, but we talked about how it comes to the point where you add one herb, and 1 plus 1 does not equal 2, but 1 plus 1 equals 10 or something, right? Because combined, they're stronger than as if they were by themselves. Get mostly Kristen. Oh no, Jennifer, I'm so sorry that some of your seeds got crushed. White willow bark. Oh, that's cool. I have some calendula oil and yep. And I thought, okay, good. Now I'm gonna, because sometimes my first step is get my things out in my view to work on them, and then they might sit there for a couple days until I actually do it. I was like, yes, getting them done. But guess what? I need to make face oil. So that's the next thing I'm going to be doing. And Heather, Milk and Honey Heritage Farms, I know you're waiting on me to, I told you that I would give you some under eye stuff. I'm working on it this week. So I will let you know when that's done so I can get it in the mail to you. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing next. I also infused, so for my face thing, I needed to do a infused avocado and infused horsetail and avocado oil. I like that. And then I also want to infuse some green tea into a almond oil is what I decided. Not to say that it's my first pick to use for infusing green tea into something, but I'm running kind of short on oils. I also love a rosehip seed oil and argan oil in my face serum. But anyhow, those are some of the things that I'm working on. And then I may, while I have my essential oils out, because I have 2 boxes of essential oils, while I have those out, I might just start making some room sprays too, because I'm kind of running short on those. And then I might just pre-blend some essential oil blends for making some soap, because I am just itching. It's funny. I'm itching to make soap. So I'm not itching physically, but I'm really getting anxious to make soap. All right, let me see. I've been talking a lot and kind of missed what y'all are saying. Synergy, yes. More herbs and infused honey. Awesome. Oh, and you're a new beekeeper. Congratulations for all the bees, Anne. That's awesome. And jojoba oil, that's a good one. But I have heard that jojoba oil is not good to use on your face, though. Good for body oil, though. Only oil I use on my skin is coconut oil, and it's amazing for the skin. Well, it's also not necessarily comedogenic. So if you start to break out or anything, it's that coconut oil. Somewhere in my notes, I have scores. And you can find comedogenic ratings on your oils. And if I'm remembering correctly, you want them close to 0. And I think your oils are going to be graded like 0 to 3 or something. And the higher the number, like maybe it even goes, I mean, it might go higher than that, but maybe it's an oil that, like it's a butter or something, like we wouldn't think of using that. But if I'm remembering correctly, and I can bring that with me to the next time we do a live and share like some of my notes, but you want 0 because 0 means that it's going to be the most non-comedogenic, if I'm using that word correctly. It's not going to make you break out. We'll say it simply like that, because I could be using the incorrect word. Hey, Lori. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for coming. Okay, cool. I have lots of suggestions. Now, let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Bear with me on the clunkiness. Hopefully I don't freeze, so we'll see. Okay. Yay, I didn't freeze. Okay. All right, so here's the herbal monograph. I'm going to get this on my phone so that I can see you guys. All right. Because then when I go to the form, I'm not going to be able to see you. All right, but I can see you on my phone. Okay, so mugwort. I do want to just pause here for a minute. Artemisia vulgaris. This is not the same as wormwood, which is Artemisia. What is it? Artemisia. It's not. Okay, so there's 3 different Artemisias. There's an Artemisia annie, and that's your sweet anise. And then there's Artemisia vulgaris, it's mugwort. And then there's wormwood, that's Artemisia. Oh my gosh, and the next word starts with an A. Is it annua? Maybe it's annua, Artemisia annua. But these are 3 different herbs. Even though they're all Artemisias, they are different. And they're different because they have different constituents. So this one is just Artemisia vulgaris, your mugwort, your common mugwort. And one thing I did notice is there are different kinds of mugwort out there. So just be careful. Like if you're growing it, get your seeds from a reputable place. If something's around that looks like mugwort, make sure that you do a thorough investigation. Make sure that you have what you think you have. And then let me see if I can, hold on. I'm going to try to change this so the screen shows a little bigger. I was fooling with this earlier. There we go. Yeah, I think that probably helps y'all see it better, huh? Since I don't have the paid version of StreamYard, so the pixels are horrible that they give me. I need to work on that one of these days. All right, so the plant family is the Asteraceae family. That is also your daisy sunflower family, shared with chamomile, yarrow, wormwood, ragweed. They're all related. It's good to know that family because if somebody is allergic to one of those things, you need to be careful with all the other plants in that family because it's possible that you could be allergic to them too. This plant grows upright, about 2 to 4 feet high. Mine is in a container. It's only growing like to the 1 to 2 feet height. Well, and then I keep trimming it and it grows back. It's really great for that too, by the way. The stems are slender, reddish tinged, slightly hairy, and the leaves are deeply lobed, dark green. So they're dark green on the top and they're silvery underneath. And one of the things I wanted to bring, and I'm realizing I didn't bring it with me, is I was going to bring you a clipping from my plant. But they are, just remember, on the bottom, they're so silvery, they're almost white on the bottom of the leaf. And that is very, it's very significant with the mugwort, Artemisia vulgaris, when you're doing your plant identification. They're also very aromatic when crushed. It has small yellow-green to purplish florets and narrow clusters along, almost like the leaf. It looks kind of crazy the way that it flowers. And I'll say this, when you look it up, this thing's going to drop like thousands of flowers, aka seeds. So it propagates very much so and can be quite invasive. So keep that in mind. I plant mine in a container. I snip it before it goes to flower because I do not want it growing its plants everywhere. I read in one place that the plant itself, that mugwort, can start to dominate whatever area it's in by kind of, making the environment and the soil not conducive to growth for other plants. So just thought I'd put that out there. I can't say I've seen that everywhere, but all it took was, I only needed to be told once. Okay, I won't put it in my garden. All right, so also it is perennial in zones 3 to 9, and I have it in a container, and it's in the same container since last year, and this container is not huge, and it died back in the container. That was metal, and I'm just emphasizing this because when it says it's extremely hardy, it's not kidding. Like this poor little guy, he doesn't get a lot of attention and he just continues to grow. And I'm laughing as I'm hearing myself talk because I noticed Lori Mills refers to her mugwort as a she, and I'm referring to my mugwort as a he. But it does tolerate dry soil. I can contest to that. I've forgotten to water it on occasion. And it is kind of sitting under a tree in my yard. So it gets a lot of shade, probably more shade than sun, and it grows very well. So I'm really loving it. Harvest times between July and September, and the parts that you will use are the leaves and the flowers. Just remember, if you let it go to flower, proceed at your own risk, I guess. Yeah, so Lori is pointing out that she was shocked to see all the little flowers. Yes, and I haven't seen them in real life. I only have seen pictures, and they're like thousands of flowers all of a sudden. It's kind of crazy. Oh, did you kind of think of yours as a he right after you wrote she? It's funny how we do that with plants, huh? So the constituents, let's talk about those for a minute. And I just want to put this out there. It might feel like when you're studying herbs and everything, like you look at the constituents, you probably gloss them over maybe when you're first getting started. Do take a minute to read over those because you're going to start to notice repeated themes. I mean, these constituents, they're in a lot of plants share the same constituents. And if you start to notice a trend or you read something about them, it's going to trigger for you. So volatile oils that are in this plant include thujone, cineol, camphor, borneol, saponine, artemisia ketones, and there's also sesquiterpenes, lactones. So artemisinin related compounds, but not at the same level as Artemisia annual. And those are the compounds that also make it a antiparasitic. There's also vulgarin, matricin derivatives, and those support the anti-inflammatory and the antimicrobial properties of the plant. There's also flavonoids, quercetin. That's actually a supplement. Luteolin, apigenin, rutin. Rutin's like that's a supplement too. And it's supposed to be like a really strong vitamin C. So that's kind of interesting. Support the antioxidant qualities and circulatory support that is in this herb. And coumarins, tannins, polyphenols, and bitters. The vitamins and minerals in this plant include vitamin A precursors, your vitamin C, K, and B complex in very small amounts. Also calcium, magnesium, potassium, iron, manganese, zinc, and copper. And these are not just there in small amounts, they're there in nutritive levels. that are similar to, other greens, but mugwort is not used as a mineral supplement. It's used more for its energetics and for its aromatic actions, and we'll talk about why here in just a minute. The energetics of this herb are warm, but I noticed some of the sources that I reviewed might have said neutral or slightly warm, so I just put warm. The tastes are bitter, acrid, and aromatic. And the culinary taste, because I'll share more about culinary, aspects of this herb in a minute, but it's supposed to be similar to sage. And I loved this description because it sounded the most detailed. A lightly bitter flavor with notes of sage, pine, and a hint of mint. I just love that description. I thought that was great. For my TCM peeps, liver, the channels that it enters are the liver, the spleen, and the kidney. One of these days, I'll share more about the channels. And I didn't used to include them in my monograph, but now that I'm getting, further along in my TCM studies, it's helpful for me to know what channels that they are entering, because that it tells me something about that herb from like a diagnostic use perspective. All right. How's everybody doing? Is this all flowing good? Everything making sense so far? If you could drop me a 1 in the chat and let me know we're all good, or do you have any questions? Yeah, I would clip it back so that your mugwort back so the flowers don't fall on the ground. Yeah. And I know it says you could use flowers and leaves, but I've just been using the leaves. Yes. Are you a TCM peep? Yes, that's what I said. TCM peeps. That's what I'm studying. Awesome, Lori. Okay. Actions. So this herb is a carminative. It's an emmenagogue. It also is an abortifacient. So that's good to know. You see that word, that's like your clue. If you don't need to know anything about this herb, that's your main thing. Not for pregnant women. Okay. Also emmenagogue. If you ever see emmenagogue or abortifacient, means it's not for pregnant folks. It's a nervine, an aromatic nervine, also a circulatory stimulant, an antispasmodic, a diaphoretic, a mild one, an antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, antifungal, and a vermifuge, which means antiparasitic. Now, according to TCM, it warms the womb, moves qi and blood, disperses cold, opens the channels, and stops bleeding when charred. And we're going to be talking about what they mean by when charred in a little bit, because I'm going to hold this up for you guys to see. Hopefully you can see this. I can't see me, so I got to wait till my phone catches up. Hold on. You see it? This is a moxa stick, and I'll talk about this more in a little bit. And there's a little tin I put it in. When using this, I fill this tin up with rice. We'll chat about that in a couple of minutes, but that's what they're referring to when they talk about charred mugwort. Moxa stick. Yep. In Ayurveda, mugwort is known to pacify kapha due to the bitterness, dryness, and stimulation. Just a reminder or info for you. There's 3 different constitutions in Ayurveda. You got Kapha, Vata, and Pitta. And Kapha is like your folks that might retain a lot of fluid. Maybe they're tired a lot. They might be your heavier set group of people, and maybe they fight dampness, which again, that's a TCM and Ayurveda term. But dampness, you could think not just respiratory kind of stuff, but maybe edema, maybe also maybe some atherosclerosis or something like that, those kind of problems. Also, it pacifies Vata in small doses because it's aromatic and warming, and it can aggravate Pitta if it's overused. Your Pitta folks are already typically running warm, and because it's warming and pungent and bitter, it can aggravate Pitta if overused, but just if it's overused. And actually, like, you'll hear more about this in a minute, but I wouldn't suggest anybody overuse this herb. Any questions so far? All right. If you haven't chatted in a few, maybe drop me a 1. Just let me know that you're following along with everything, that it makes sense, and you don't have any questions. That helps me to know. Otherwise, I feel like I need to pause and maybe share like more information, maybe say things in a different way. A lot of ways to say stuff. I want to make sure that I'm saying it how you guys can understand it. And sometimes I talk fast, but there's a lot to go through, and I don't want us to go beyond an hour. So one of the things I was so surprised to hear, thank you guys, so surprised to hear or see when I started doing research was all of the great mugwort recipes. And yes, I said it, mugwort recipes in cooking. Now, before you get super excited about that, don't plan on eating this every day. I'll show you, because I also am going to be sharing some information a little bit regarding contraindications and safety. But there was recipes for ice cream, dumplings, soup, breads, and people use it like a spice similar to sage, thyme, or rosemary. I saw a recipe for like chicken, like seasoning chicken, which I was thinking, well, maybe that makes sense because, you know, and it has so much historical use, this herb does, both in medicine and related to food and cooking with it. And I was thinking, well, back in the day, maybe there was a lot of concern over, you know, parasites and things like that. And cooking with an herb that's anti-parasitic was probably a really good idea. But do keep in mind, and we'll talk about it more, it's just not something you want to use on a regular basis from the research that I saw. At least I wouldn't do it. Again, do your own research. Hey, Jan, thanks for coming. All right, so moving on from the food part of the mugwort, in Western herbalism, it's some of its high points here, and you're going to see some overlap. I'm going to talk about Western herbalism, TCM, Ayurveda use, and also Native American use. And there's some things I'm probably not going to go into a lot about. I'll still tell you about them. So Western herbalism, 3 top things: digestive support, menstrual support, and also nervine support. And to dig into the weeds a little bit more, it's a bitter herb. So for digestive support, that bitter aspect of the herb helps to stimulate the production of bile and digestive enzymes, helping your body to break down food more efficiently. And it's also used as an anti-parasitic. And I don't know, like, I was like, well, maybe that kind of fits in the digestive world. That's like where they live. So I wanted to share with you guys a little bit of information too that I don't know if I've shared before. And I thought that you might find it interesting. So when you eat a bit, or you take your bitters before you eat dinner, which reminds me, I forgot to do it this evening. Anybody else have that struggle? I need to move my bitter bottle to the counter that we eat at. That's what needs to happen. Okay. Getting back on track. So when you take your bitters, like you think, yeah, it's releasing bile, it's getting my stomach ready to eat. Well, these digestive enzymes aren't just produced by like you might be thinking liver, gallbladder, but that's not all of it. Your pancreas, all of your things like lipase, you've heard of lipase. What's another one? There's a couple of different ACEs out there. And all of these little ACEs are made by your pancreas. Lipase breaks down your fats. There's another one that ends in ACE and it starts with an A. And it breaks down your proteins. And there's another one that breaks down your carbs, and there are different enzymes. And the bitter flavor helps to stimulate the production of those digestive enzymes that are created by your pancreas. So that's an awesome thing. And I thought that was really interesting. I was just reading about that more this last week and thought I'd share with you guys. Oh, and Tamara. Hey, Tamara. I don't know if I said hi to you yet. She's sharing her great aunt made an insect repellent from mugwort. It's an aromatic herb, so I could see that. I'll bet she did. All right, menstrual cramping. It's an emmenagogue. It's been used traditionally to encourage menses, and it also may be combined with cramp bark to ease cramping. So for digestive support as a bitter, if you were to take a tea like that, you could, maybe combine it with other relaxing or bitter herbs. Again, just not on a regular basis, guys. You're going to hear me repeat that theme over and over throughout this live, because I just want to make sure that I drill that home, not for regular use. And this next point that I want to share is something that I was aware of. And this is, I think, one of Mugwort's claims to fame, if you will. And that's in regards to the dream and sleep support, really emphasizing the word dream, because there is a whole group of people that swear by Mugwort for helping to promote not just a restful night's sleep, but encouraging REM sleep. And they might skip by the science piece of it. Oh, here it is. Tamara, thank you. I got to back up because Tamara just gave me the words that I was lacking a minute ago. Okay, so the enzymes the pancreas creates, amylase is breaking down your carbs, lipase is breaking down your fats, and protease is breaking down your proteins. Those are all created by your pancreas. So the bitters help to encourage the release and stimulation of those digestive enzymes that are created in your pancreas. Thank you, Tamara. Sometimes I go off on a tangent and I know what I mean and I can't think of the words. So I appreciate you. So Mugwort's been known, a lot of people, they call it lucid dreaming, and they swear by the lucid dreaming. I even read some things, like one person gave an example. They were, I guess, on like a camping trip or something, and they drank mugwort tea, and in their dream they dreamed that they saw St. John's wort. You're an herbalist when you dream about herbs, right? So anyways, they dreamed they saw St. John's wort, and the next day they continued their hike, him and his friends, I guess, or she and her friends, I don't know, and they ran into St. John's wort. So she felt like it was even a little bit, I don't know. Anyhow, lucid dreaming. And so, but what it does on a science level is it's helping you to get into REM sleep. So you're actually sleeping harder. And if you have already very vivid dreams, especially if you suffer with anything like sleep paralysis, this is not the herb for you. You probably don't need any more of that going on. And I wanted to share a comment here in regards to its nervine qualities that I found in Michael Tierra's book. And he said mugwort is an excellent nervine for uncontrollable shaking, nervousness, and insomnia. So think about that, how he's presenting it to uncontrollable shaking, nervousness, and insomnia, where somebody, it sounds like an event, right? Like they're having, just, I don't know, they've had a rough time or something, but they've got this shaking, very, super extreme nervousness going on, preventing them from being able to sleep. So I thought that was good to share. Again, not for regular use. I told you I was going to be saying this all the time, and I'm going to keep doing that because I know the more I say it, the more y'all are going to remember that not for regular use part. Another way that this herb is used in the Western herbalism world is as antifungal support. And that could be both internally, not for regular use, but also in liniments, foot scrubs, foot soaks, mouth gargles, infused oils. I'm thinking like, there's already some herbs that I like to consider using for like, if anybody like to have on hand for any kind of antifungal, like foot thing, toe thing, anything like that. But this would be a great addition to that to be used topically. So Jan, where's my book? I should have my book. Yes, it is. And as a matter of fact, I'm answering the question, is mugwort considered a Chinese herb? I guess the best way to answer that is that it's used in Chinese medicine. The main way that it's used in Chinese medicine, though, is in the form of moxa, which is a charcoal mugwort stick, though they make it from the regular mugwort. I just haven't done that. I'll show you some here in a minute, though. In TCM, it's used externally in moxibustion to warm meridians and move qi and blood, and it moves the qi, like digestive stagnation. And I'm gonna show you guys a moxa stick here in just a little bit, and we'll talk about that some more. In Ayurveda, mugwort kindles digestive fire, which is referred to as Agni, reduces ama, which is the metabolic waste. And Native Americans used mugwort for colds and flus, bronchitis, and fevers. Now, what I'm not sharing or talking about is that there's a lot of history behind mugwort's use in not just Native American culture, but different cultures throughout the world, in a way, like they thought that it would keep away evil and things like that. And that's like a whole nother, rabbit hole you could jump down. And I don't practice stuff like that. So that doesn't help me any as an herbalist. So I kind of skip over it. I pray. I don't do any magic stuff. So, but there is like, just so you're aware that mugwort has its, place for some in history for some cultures and things. And it's been used as like a smudging thing by the Native Americans, also kind of like they did with sage. But keep in mind, it's antimicrobial. Like, I guess, I'm just thinking killing germs and things like that. But just saying, I'm not going to jump down that rabbit hole, but that rabbit hole is out there. If anybody's interested, I just, that's not my jam. All right, so moving on to the safety considerations and why you keep hearing me say that this is not an herb that you want to use on a regular basis. So let's jump into this piece of it. Mugwort is aromatic, warming, and stimulating. So all of those factors, a lot of these warnings are most related to like pregnancy, allergies, and general overuse. The pregnancy, it's an emmenagogue and it's uterine stimulating. So we mentioned this earlier, and there's just not a lot of data around breastfeeding. So avoid that for internal use for anybody who's breastfeeding too. Better to be safe. Again, allergies to the Asteraceae family. If you're allergic to ragweed, chamomile, yarrow, or daisies, just be, cautious with it. Mugwort pollen is a major allergen for some people, so just be aware of that. I thought it was interesting because mugwort has historical use of regulating a woman's menstrual cycle, both in regards to, in both extremes, like if somebody's not having their cycle and they should be helping to regulate that. But it's also listed as having a safety consideration for heavy menstrual bleeding, which makes sense. But at the same time, I saw some contradictory information too. So just be careful with that. Kidney or liver disease. If you have kidney or liver disease, just know that those volatile oils, such as thujone, may stress the detox pathways if used excessively. And I wouldn't imagine, remember, excessively, we're talking, and bless your heart. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, friend. Oh, I just love that. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I'm loving the feedback that Robin's sharing too about moxa. I'm so glad. Yeah, don't burn yourself. Jennifer says, I need to go into the mugwort seed selling business. Yes, you could. You could. There's people that don't have it growing. Also, another warning for epilepsy, thujone is a neurostimulant, so avoid internal use. So, keep in mind those thujone containing herbs, wormwood, sagebrush, tarragon. Tarragon's a chicken spice, not chicken, but kitchen spice. Well, I guess you could use it on chicken, but I meant to say kitchen. But all of those containing herbs, you kind of, if you're using it like a spice for food, that's not excessive, right? That's in small amounts. It's when you're taking it teaspoonfuls or tablespoonfuls to make a cup of tea and then you're drinking that tea over a period of time. That's where you're going to run into problems. Medication interactions. Beware, sedatives, CNS depressants, mugworts, volatile oils may interact with medications that affect the nervous system. Also, the circulatory moving actions may theoretically increase a bleeding risk. Antihistamines, again, back to that allergen piece. And any medications that are metabolized by the liver, use caution with those, maybe take them separate from one another. And then all in all, what I did see and was pretty consistent with all of the herb books that I referenced and my online research was that it is not to be used as a tonic herb or on a regular basis due to the thujone and other volatile oils. Oh no, you do burn yourself, Robin? Oh shoot. Let me see what's next because I do want to. All right, here we're getting to the part where I can talk about it. Okay, so what am I going to do with my mugwort? And what's Lori going to do with hers? And what's Jennifer going to do with her mugwort? Anybody else joining us and making some mugwort stuff? Because this is for you. So you can see here, if you're making an infusion or, AKA tea, you use 1 teaspoon dry or 1 tablespoon fresh mugwort per cup of water. And if you tincture it, which I don't know if I will, I'm not going to rush to tincture this. I don't know. I feel like I probably wouldn't use the tincture. And again, I put this little reminder about not using it as a tonic on a regular basis due to the thujone. But, tinctures are so much stronger. Like if we have an herb that we need to be concerned about that, why would we do that? I don't necessarily have any recipes, like tincture recipes, that I'm like, oh, I need to have some mugwort for. So I think it's good, like, not as a tincture. But if you do tincture it, you would do it at a 1 to 5, 40 to 60% alcohol. And then the dose 0.5 to 2 milliliters. I'd be doing it by the drops to start, to be honest. Yeah, I won't be doing it. But I did put it in here just so I have it in my notes. Now, the other things you can do with it, you can infuse it in oil and make a salve with it. You could make a vinegar with it. I mean, you could make, people were making food. Like if you check it out, and I'll give you the references for where you can find all the recipes. Also an oxymel, like if you're thinking, I need to just do this for, a couple of days or something. A foot soak, a scrub, an herbal smoke. I saw that. That was in Michael Tierra's book, that it could be used as an herbal smoke. And moxibustion. Okay, let's talk about this because this is how I've mainly used it. And maybe I might have to quit sharing my screen here in a minute. Let's get through this and then I'll come back to this. Also dream support as a tea, a tincture in the evening. You can make dream pillows. And I love that idea. That sounds so fun and neat. Like I like, you can make like a sheet spray for your sheets too. So when you go to sleep and you've got essential oils that are going to help you go to sleep. I love that. And I was thinking with pillows that contain lavender too, that would be awesome. If that's if you want to get into real deep REM sleep, and I haven't tried that yet. So I don't know. So it's up to you. I want to share some references with you here and then chat about some clinical and non-clinical trials. And then before we end, I'll take this down from the screen so that I'm up on the screen in full and you guys can see what I got in my hands better. So I did some online research, but also Herbal Medicine from the Heart of the Earth, The Way of Herbs by Michael Tierra, and the Herbal Medicine Maker's Handbook. These are some of the books that I referenced to pull this information together. Oh, Lori said she did vinegar with it when it was not good. Maybe add honey to it to turn it into an oxymel. Yeah, I would. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hear you on the freeze dryer, Jennifer. And Tamara, yeah, if it You know, that's why I keep repeating it. Like there's other options. There's other options for everything that this herb does in my mind, except for like that lucid dreaming piece. I can't think of other herbs that have that same reputation. Oh, I got a typo. Hold on, let me fix this. All right. So let's talk about some non-clinical and clinical trials. Moxibustion for knee osteoarthritis in 2011. This study was done. It was a randomized controlled trial. Randomized means that people were either put on the study medication, in this case, which was moxibustion, or they were randomized to an alternative. And in this case, that alternative was their regular care. So, according to this study, mugwort moxibustion significantly reduced pain, stiffness, and functional limitation in knee osteoarthritis patients. And this shows measurable anti-inflammatory and analgesic effects. It works. I've used it myself. Robin, I'm thankful that you shared your experience with it. And I'll show you again in a minute and we'll talk about that more. Also, another study I was able to find was about mugwort pollen immunotherapy. So that it was studying the clinical efficacy of mugwort pollen immunotherapy in patients with seasonal allergic rhinitis. And they were actually looking at the mugwort pollen immunotherapy just to see if it reduced nasal symptoms, IgE levels, which are like a blood marker for allergy symptoms, and overall allergy severity. And it showed that it was effective for that. So that's kind of interesting. And here we go, Artemisia vulgaris extract for pain and spasm. By extract, they probably mean something like a tincture. But it was a controlled trial evaluating antispasmodic and the analgesic effects. And mugwort extract reduced smooth muscle spasm and pain perception in human relevant models, which sounded kind of interesting the way they worded that. And that aligns with the Western herbalism's antispasmodic and emmenagogue profile. And that study was from 2005. And this was specifically in gastrointestinal disorders. All right, now so I guess, what am I going to make with it? Let me pause here for a minute. I saved some of my oregano because I wanted to make like an antifungal foot scrub, and oregano is antifungal. And even if you don't have any fungus on your feet, like why not use an antifungal foot scrub to prevent you from getting something? And I really like that idea. So I was going to do oregano. I've already got the oregano. I was thinking I'd do some of the mugwort, and I would also include like some other ingredients like sugar, maybe some black walnut powder. That's another one that I've used in there. You can use them like in a soap too, like a scrubby soap. I love that. So I was thinking about doing that. And then I was thinking about making a foot soak. I did this with the oregano too. And I have them already, like foot soak baths, pouches ready to go. But I'm thinking that this would be a great inclusion into that. And then maybe making up some teas for nighttime and just kind of making sure I have them separate, because I don't want to drink them every night kind of thing. But maybe mugwort, skull cap, just something really relaxing, and maybe some lavender. What else would I put in there if I was going to make a nighttime tea? What's in my nighttime tea? Peppermint. Yeah, I'm thinking that I might do that. My favorite. Maybe some lemon balm. I'll have to see how it all kind of blends together. That would be made with the mugwort and alcohol, right, to spray on the bed sheets? Yes. Yeah, like if you did make a tincture, you could use the tincture and then even add some like essential oil drops in there if you're just going to use it for a spray. Now I might make one, Lori. Now I might make one. But I would so my room sprays, I use vodka in my room sprays, or if I have Everclear only, because most of the time I am creating my tinctures very specifically to the percentage of alcohol that they're supposed to be. per the books that I reference. You know, some might tincture better with more water than another. Hence, you might have 40% alcohol versus 80% alcohol or something. So I usually have Everclear on hand. I just water that down, obviously, because it's so strong. And then you can spray it on there. Now I might do it. Now I might do it. That's a good idea. That would be fun. That'd be a fun, like, you could do a whole gift with that if you had that as like a pillow spray. And then you could even create a little pillow too if you wanted. And add a sprig of rosemary to the bottle for a, oh yeah. Yes. Yep. Okay. Yes, God is amazing. And that could be like a whole little gift set, you know? I don't know. I like to make gift sets and things too. So I sometimes think about stuff like that. Or if I'm helping somebody to get better and I already have all of these products together and like, this is for this person who's experiencing this. I like that piece of it. Okay. Let me stop sharing. So, all right. So we can talk about moxibustion. I'm going to be clanky because it's clanky. All right. Here's my little bowl. What I do is I put rice in here. This is a moxa stick. What you do is you light the moxa stick. It'll start burning on the end. And then you douse it a little bit, just a little bit in your rice because you want it to still smoke. So it's like, you know, smoking like, you know, just smoking. What am I trying to think of? Help me, Jan. What's the things that burn and they smell? Usually they have like patchouli ones, incense. I got it. So it's going to smoke, kind of like your incense does for if anybody's ever lit incense before. So then when it's smoking, let's say that I'm having wrist pain. You would hold it like right here and kind of move in a circle over the wrist pain. And then you might turn and do it again. And listen, very important tip. Don't let the ashes fall on you. So then you got to kind of keep with the ashes. Make sure that you don't burn yourself. Robin, I love lemon basil too. And then like this, you could go around this area. I do want to point this out. So my experience with this has been on my back. I had severe back pain at one point where I couldn't even sleep at night. I couldn't lay down. I couldn't lay in bed. And this might sound crazy, but it was my life. I had to put a pillow on the floor and I had to drape myself over the bed because if I laid down, I was not going to be able to get back up. And it was so amazingly painful. So of course I'd wake up throughout the night and thank goodness I have good knees, right? But I'd wake up throughout the night and it would be hurting. I'd use my pain oil, which was incredibly helpful. And then I could sit Indian style and I had my husband start to use this on my back. I did my pain oil. And at night when I woke up, I was just praying. I thought, and this is for all of my Christian friends out there. I prayed that please help me heal, Lord, all of this. And then I started feeling like I'm under attack. I was really feeling like I was living two different worlds or two different lives. I had my daytime life and my nighttime life. And it was like a whole nother life, right? I wasn't sleeping, but maybe I could sleep about 2 hours at a time. And at most, and I felt like I combined only got about 4 hours of sleep a night. It was really a very long, probably 9 or 10 months of my life that this was going on. It was a long enough time that after I kept praying for it, I started feeling like I was under attack. So I started telling the devil, you know what? You keep me up at night. I'm reading my Bible. So take that. And I had a Kindle and I would read my Bible on the Kindle. And then I went from praying for healing to accepting the healing. And I started saying, Lord, I know you're healing me and I don't feel it right now, but I know you're doing it. Thank you so much for the healing that I know that you're giving me. And I started doing that. And I ended up, you know, being better, and I'm feeling like I'm tearing up talking about it. So sorry about that. But one of the things that worked was these moxa sticks too. I'm sorry, you guys. I getting all emotional. I didn't mean to do that. But that's what I did. So I want to share that because, you know, never give up. If you're feeling really bad and you're really sick, just, you know, you do your best, you pray about it, and you accept the healing and know that God's working even if you don't feel it and even if you can't see it. Okay. So sorry about that. And I got my dream job during that time, and which is a whole nother story that I will not share here. But I did, and I told my husband, I'm like, oh my goodness, do you think they're going to know how broken I am? I felt so broken, you know, with my back. A back pain is a horrible thing. But I will say it was very helpful. And that, my pain oil, and yeah, just not giving up, guys. So that's my experience with mugwort. And I have not tried the tea yet. I just started growing it. I liked it for the antifungal and the anti-parasitic qualities. And I thought that was, you know, great research that I dug into and kind of found out all about that stuff. But I am proceeding with caution with this herb. And I would suggest that anybody do that. And, you know, if you're wanting to have the lucid dreaming or whatever, you know, go for it. But just remember not to use on a regular basis. All right. Well, that's all I have for tonight. Before I close out for the night, can you guys share with me what herbs are you interested in? Any requests for what I should cover in the future? I am interested in doing more of the these lives where I'm just going through the monographs, because I'm preparing these monographs for myself and I've got a whole lot of them that I need to get through. So do I have any requests from anybody for what monographs we should chat about next, or that I'll put on my list? I might pull them lamb's quarters. Ooh, that's a good one. Anyone else? I will try to have it up early so you guys can see what it is. Milky oats, that's another good one. Awesome. Thank you, Aiden. Thank you, everybody, for coming. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your week, and I appreciate all of you coming. I will see you all next Tuesday, and I'm going to try to get that live posted early so that you know what herb I decide to do. Have a good one, you all. Take care. Bye, everybody.